Terrence Popp here from the Lair, and this one is basically me answering one particular question. I get asked this quite a bit. Basically, the gentleman is asking, how do I cope while I'm on my 7-year hiatus? In several of your videos, you talk about a 7-year break, and that seems like a little harsh. And what is your rationale behind this? What benefits do you derive from it? And do you advise it to younger men? Yes, I do. For whatever reason, 7 it shows up in a lot of the laws of, it's mentioned in the holy texts, even though, I really don't buy into those as much as I should. Like, for instance, if you do a bankruptcy, it'll stay on your record for 7 years. It's a weird number that keeps popping up. And when I was bitching about some shit that went down to my sensei several years back, and he's an artist, he's always thought at a higher level, calm, cool, and collected, even under some of the most strenuous situations. And, when I was a kid, I remember seeing him, in some certain situations where I was just like, I want to be like that dude right there. So when he said, hey, Pop, you're bitching about all this fucking bullshit that went on, but if the one common denominator in all these scenarios is you, then you must, if you're a logical person, look within, because there's something in there that's going on. And at first, when somebody tells you the truth, you get kind of pissed, and because it runs into your wall of beliefs, and you're like, oh no. But as you awaken, you look at numbers, you look at logic and reason, and I'm just like, God damn it, he's absolutely fucking correct. So that was about 5 years ago. In the beginning, my emotions were still raw, divorce, some other bullshit that went down. And in the beginning it was hard. You get lonely. But as you go along, you awaken. And it changes the whole perspective on this whole fucking situation. It takes some time, but basically you work your way up in your own mind or in your own consciousness, from being somebody who's just looking at a sensor reading to working your way up to being in the captain chair where you command yourself once again. And once you can do that, you can take back your power, which has, slowly but surely been siphoned off or leached off of you from people in your life who are parasitic. And you won't really see how bad that is until you have some time to reflect. Okay, so number one, there's no relationship for 7 years, all right? I'm like 5 years into it. I still bang chicks from time to time, but I no longer hunt for cunt. I mean, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of time. You have to logistically plan for it. It's just like any other mission. Ladies night at this bar, I need to be here at this time. I'm taking my car. Is the car gassed up? Is it functioning properly? You have to put out your wardrobe, your attire, you have your backstories. I mean, whatever. You have to even plan what you're going to have in your pockets, because maybe they'll search you at the door or they're not. And to be honest, it's just a lot of fucking bullshit to meet fucking women that are just there to get smoked and poked. Most of them been run through the goddamn ringer, and they're slags, and a slutty hag. And a lot of people are like, well, what constitutes a slutty hag? And, basically that's a woman who reaches the age of 30 who's been partying Thursday through Sunday from the age of 17 to 30 with 2 packs of cigarettes every day. Hags them out in no time flat, and that's a shame. Now, a slow hag or a slutty old hag, the difference between those two is basically 7 years. Because there's a lot of women genetically that can take care of themselves, or they have a couple kids, whatever. By 37, they have hit that wall and shit is going south. Let's see. You'll notice that, as a single dude, you're married friends. You can still be close to them. You still be friends, but you're not going over there every Sunday and watching the football game or Saturday, because sooner or later, there's that feeling of the third wheel, and, it's kind of uncomfortable. And, you learn how to gracefully take a bow and say, I'm done here, this was fun, thank you for feeding me, or we had some booze, but you know, I must be off. You have a problem, you need to ride home or whatever, my phone's on 24/7. I am an NCO, a former first sergeant, so I know how to take care of people and get people out of fucking sticky situations. Okay, let's see. This is one of the negative points I've noticed, that when you do go out into the bar, you know, especially if you're my age, you've become the creepy dude. You're that old guy that people just kind of, they talk, not really talk to you, but they talk around you. That takes some getting used to. You know, I do have some antics that I do in the bar, and I'm going to probably do a show on that. In fact, I'm going to write that down right now so I don't forget it, because I do this all the time. Bar antics. You will love this, because there's some crazy ass shit that I do. So some guys like to go to the bar with me because I laugh their asses off. Some guys hate it because I embarrass the shit out of them. But as you know me, gentlemen, I've been doing this for quite some time, and the I don't care light is going on in my mind, and I move forward at I don't give a fuck speed. Okay, hobbies. Now, normal guys will have a lot of hobbies. I myself, you know, I just basically work on the show. I write on the side, and the show is basically my last link to sanity. It makes me feel better, and maybe you'll learn something. Or you'll get a different perspective. So when you're walking in the real world, it'll be like you have a little camera over your head, watching how it unfolds from a bird's eye view, and you can be like, hey, you know, Popp said that this was going to happen. This is the pattern that this person's doing. Do I want to get involved into that insanity pattern, or should I just sit back and watch it unfold and find some entertainment in it, which is what I do. Like before I went to Iraq, I had a lot of very good hobbies. I played Dungeons and Dragons. I played video games a lot. I was much more personable. You know, I had a lot of friends. You know, and as the divorce was going on, you find out who your friends are that you can trust and have your back, and who the friends are that are your fair weather friends that don't have your back. And then you're going to find people who will straight up betray you. And some of those people were very close to me, including family members who I will never interact with in a familial sense of the word ever again. There's just a few things that I really don't tolerate in my life. And the two big ones are betrayal and cowardice. If you are in my circle of friends and you demonstrate those two characteristics, I'm probably gonna cut away, because I don't need that in my life. I don't do betrayal. I'm certainly not a coward. So you know, that is what it is. You do get a lot of extra time to do whatever the fuck you want. Like you don't have to call anybody to get permission to go do whatever. Like I go to the range every once in a while, borrow a rifle, and I'll squeeze off 50, 100 rounds over a 3 to 4 hour period. I try to shoot 300 meters or more because it's very zen and peaceful. I have a private key to a range that goes back 300 meters, and you know, a lot of people around here, you know, they're kind of all ranged out. So there are many times when I get out of work, you know, 5:30, 6 o'clock, when I'm there at the range, it is just me, light breeze, and no one else to fuck with me. I used to scuba dive. I probably, you know, I really want to get back into that, because that's actually very good. You know, not only a good thing, fun thing to do, it's healthy, and it's a good skill to know. So I'm trying to force myself, you know, and I'll get to this point later on, but I'm trying to force myself to get back into things that I used to love, because something inside got disconnected, and it's not healthy, and I need to plug it back in. And, you know, from thinking about this, I source it back to, you know, Iraq, because when you're a combat soldier and you move into, you know, open territory, or you move on a movement to contact where you know you're coming against, you know, enemy forces, there will be a shootout, there will be loss of life. It's very terrifying for anybody, including me and other people with me. And one of the ways that we cope with it is you come to a point where you just say to yourself that you're already dead. Okay, your wife is shagging somebody else, Your dog is dead, your house is sold, your car is wrecked, your children don't love you anymore. Because when you step into the eye of oblivion and you want any hope of returning, you can take nothing with you, not even the love of God. Because when you're in there, you have very limited control of your survivability. And a lot of times it's just fractions of a second. So if there's anything going on in the back of your mind, any bandwidth at all, you will probably hesitate, and in so doing, turn that temporary fraction of an instant into your own eternity. And if you are so unlucky enough as to return from the eye of oblivion, you bring part of it with you. And a lot of people, it's fatal to a lot of guys because they don't know how to encapsulate it or control it or use it to their benefit. And those are all internal lessons that you got to work out on your own, because that oblivion will kill your ass. And it allows you to do some pretty superhuman shit. Know things you shouldn't know. See around corners. People stare. It's just weird. It's kind of got a supernatural aspect to it, and it operates at levels far beyond our understanding. And I really don't want to go into any further detail because I might creep you all out. Okay, after you've started taking your break, you will notice, because you'll have more time, that you will awaken. In your mind, you'll be okay. You put up your defenses and you say, okay, I'm in my fortress of solitude. I need to work on some shit here. No one's coming in. And as you work on the bullshit that's going in at your fortress, you realize all of the bullshit patterns that you've been tolerating every day. You realize all of the influences that have been pushing you around like an unseen wind. You get wise to that. You start cutting through the layers and layers of psyops that have been played against you since you were a child. And it really changes your perspective. It steps you up to 3 or 4 dimensions in thinking. And to me, it's been thus far a total life changer. Okay, when this happens, you will be fooled less, and you will be surprised less, because you will see people do things that what the outcome will be, what the results will be, what the consequences will be, and then you'll watch them go through this whole thing and not learn the lesson, and boom, right back up to the top. I did a video on that, stupid shit people do. So I mean, yeah, it's like a karmic pattern. And yes, I do believe in karma. Lessons will be repeated until they are learned here on the earth. And if you don't learn enough of them, guess what? I think you're going to get boxed up and sent here again to do this whole fucking nasty stink box one more time. Okay, another positive thing you will get, your logic and reason will return to you. Like when I was married, I mean, there was a lot of things I did that I didn't logically or rationally think through. It led to a lot of turmoil, and I don't like turmoil. At least I don't like it anymore. I thought I didn't like it then, but I kept doing it because I was caught in this fucking emotional feedback loop, and it wasn't taking me anywhere good because I didn't learn the lesson. All right, here's another thing. As that logic and reason comes back online, your white knight button will deactivate. Okay, you will no longer run to people's aids or help me. Oh my God. Like before, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll help you. Now I'll be like, well, what's going on? You're not working. You can't pay your rent. Why can't you pay your rent? And then I trace it all the way back to the source, and I'm like, well, if you didn't have a child, or if you had some college, you could have got these jobs, and you wouldn't be where you are now. But people don't want to hear that. They just want you to blindly help them, which I no longer do. My armor has been turned into a wood-burning stove, which keeps me warm in the winter. And my brave charger horse, sold him to France, choice cuts of meats. I'm sure they've eaten him by now, and he's been turned into one hell of a good turd. Some of you animal rights people out there, you might get upset, and quite frankly, I don't give a fuck. As this is going on, you will realize that you become the captain of your own happiness and your own fulfillment. For whatever reason, a lot of these young men are being programmed by these single mothers, and then you know, and they think that their path to fulfillment is getting married or helping a woman or being involved in this crazy process where you put on the yoke and then you're pulling the plow, and everyone under you is living off of your resources. That doesn't have to be. It just doesn't. And you actually catch on to that, you know, as time progresses. You know, and I write this in my book, The Warrior's Way and the Soldier's Soul. I mean, if you get that book, I mean, I lay it out, basically how to prepare for war, how to conduct war, and then how to live with it after the fact. You know, and a lot of these lessons can be applied to civilians in their real lives or the corporate ladder. It has helped me out a lot in my life, and a lot of people's lives were saved via me being there with, you know, keeping my head about me when everyone else was losing theirs. To include individuals that that were supposedly enemy combatants who really weren't, and I showed up and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? They're just people. Okay, just dial it down to 8. We're at 10 right now, and bad shit happens at 10. Dial it down to 8. Use your reason, and everything will be fine. And it worked out great, and it still works out great. And when I say heal yourself, I mean internal and external wounds or injuries. And internal wounds are infinitely harder to actually heal. And in the most part, the best you could do, especially for internal injuries, like metaphysical injuries, like your soul, spirit, whatever, heart, you know, whatever you want to call it, the best you'll probably get is be able to build a crutch that will allow you to go forward. Because by the time, a lot of these guys, by the time they're 22 to 30, you know, you've probably been train wrecked like a minimum of 3 to 4 times. Maybe you lost half your shit, like I did. And I had that like 1,000-yard stare in my eyes, like, what the fuck just happened? That's pretty much how that will go. Like me, I suffer with chronic pain, dealing with it since roughly 2005. The vehicle I was in was destroyed by a roadside bomb, which consisted of roughly 40 to 60 kilograms of explosives and artillery shells, as per the EOD report I read that checked it out the next day. Now, it detonated about 8 feet off the front bumper of our Humvee. Luckily, it was lightly armored, so the shrapnel, you know, and other projectiles, ball bearings, and other horse shit they put in there didn't actually penetrate into the inside of the cabin. But the blast wave did, and it knocked everyone in the vehicle unconscious for about 90 seconds. When I ride in a Humvee, and as particularly on that day, I always ride behind the driver, because the way the Humvee is designed, there's this stupid wide island between the driver and the assistant driver, and it's got radios and all kinds of GPS tracking equipment that you can't even see the driver, let alone control what's going on, because he can't hear you. But if you sit behind the driver, I would literally come over the seat and I talk into the driver's ear and tell him what to do, because I could see exactly what he could see. So when the detonation went off, everyone slumped down. We were doing 60 miles an hour, and I came over the back seat and grabbed the wheel for about 60 seconds. My bell was rung. It was the hardest I've ever been hit in my life. How I was able to stay conscious, I have no idea. And I wasn't even supposed to be on the mission. I took the place of a E4 that had got a Dear John letter, and his mind wasn't in the game. And like I always, when somebody's going out the wire to their possible death, you should always have the guts to look them in the fucking eye, if you can. And I did that at every turn I could. And that particular day, I was scanning through everyone's faces, and I saw that kid, and he just was not in the game. I inquired what his situation was, and they told me, and I said, "You're done. Go do your laundry, get on the phone, unfuck your life. And if you need to go down to where the civilians are and have a few shots of Jack, just tell them Popp sent you, they'll let you in. But you can't come out for 24 hours until you sober up." And it never fucking happened. So, yeah, you need to take time to do that. You know, and I'm I'm trying a lot of acupuncture and different supplements and other things like that to try to get some relief. I've pretty much worn out Excedrin and Motrin, and they are still effective, but I have to take them at such high doses that I think I'm damaging my kidneys and liver. So I have to work that out. We'll see what happens. Maybe I can get to a happy medium where I can still function, but it's getting to the point where it's pretty bad. And when you get to the end of this process, it's going to take like 3 years, maybe 2 years. And then you just you become awakened, you become at peace with yourself. You realize that you don't, you're who you are, or your identity is not particularly linked to anybody else. Sure, I've done a lot of great things. There are activities that I did that helped forge my inner core and make me the man that I am today. But, at the end of the day, I'm just Popp. I'm a dude. That's it. And like people will say, what the fuck? How'd you do this? That's impossible. I mean, this is crazy. And I just look, man, just a dude. I'm just a dude. I'm a piece of meat walking around that has an expiration date stamped somewhere on my soul. And when I'm done, the man upstairs is going to snatch me out of the meat suit and throw me to my next mission. Hopefully I will complete this one because it needs to be done. Anyway, that's my rant for today on that one particular question. But that's the philosophy behind it, the benefits that you can get, and a couple of the negatives if you choose to walk this route. I can guarantee you at the end of the 7 years, you will be a different man. All right, you will walk the gauntlet. You'll make friends with yourself. You'll have no problem being by yourself and alone and not be lonely. And it sounds weird, but it's a true fact. So if you guys out there are suffering with something like this, if you have a train wreck in your soul, or you're hemorrhaging, your heart into the universe, you need to take a step back and stop that bleeding, and at a bare minimum, get back to neutral and think about where you are, where you're going, and if you want to move forward, you can look back for the lessons learned, but you can never write a new chapter until you close the chapter that you're in now. With that being said, that's me. I'll give you the safety briefing. Please, gentlemen, do not drink and drive. Do not drink and swim. Do not drink and carry a gun. If you fight, don't go to the ground. Preferably don't fight alone. If you have to go to jail, do it with a buddy, and take about $300 to $500 of cash with you, because that's typically what they'll cash bond you out for simple assault and battery. Not that I know about that or anything. I'm just saying. So you guys have a good night. Take it easy. Peace.